Well, hi everyone. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with stress. And I'm really looking forward to today's broadcast because I've got a real life example of how I woke up this morning with totally the wrong idea of what was going on and ended up in a moment of stress. And what I want to show you in very practical terms is what I did um, to absolutely decrease my stress just by working on what is my passion. And I know that sounds strange, but it's amazing if you understand what your passion is, how you can just get rid of everything else. And that is what I want to be able to sort of share with you today. Hi, Jody. And for those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin and does a wonderful job of researching for us during the broadcast and also just keeping me together during the week. So we are very grateful. And by the way, Dear Mama Sal isn't just me. It's a group of people who get together, different people on different days. We get together and share our lives with you so that you can see you're not alone, whether you're dealing with feelings of anxiety or feelings of dread or whatever it is. We do a broadcast every week about feelings, and we do it at Friday lunchtime Pacific, and then on Friday evenings we talk about coping with life, and normally we do some fun stuff here in the kitchen. And this week, you will see, we had 2 strips of pork tenderloin, and we created 6 meals in an hour and a half. Meal prepping on steroids. It was wonderful. And then on Sunday afternoons, we talk about coping with stress because there isn't a week goes by that I haven't got something to talk about stress. And so I'm hoping that you will find the simple solution here, how to calm yourself down and find more time. And if you are like the rest of us, you probably need that as much as anybody. I just want to make sure you know I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, anything with that piece of paper attached to it. And so the views you're going to hear are mine or those that I have realized, um, you know, by doing a bit of research. I'm going, oh, I can relate to that. That makes sense to me. And I'm hoping because of that, that we all will have it make sense. Jody's adding a comment here. Yes, on Friday evening, we did 6 meals in 1.5 hours. Stealth and delicious. Jody, I have to tell you that cream cheese and chive on pork, mm. That wasn't the one I thought I was going to eat, but I did. And boy, am I glad that I did. Okay. So please remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, because we use those to keep you informed. Make sure that you press the bell here. Give it a thumbs up as well while you're there. But press the bell here to make sure that you get notifications if we're going to be doing broadcasts, because that'll save you some stress. You won't have to think as much. So, just before I get on to that side of it, I wanted to just do a couple of quick housekeeping items for the regular viewers. Beth did a really great job, completely blew away her quota for her store by 200%. We're not surprised, are we? Manon's doing fine. She got a promotion as well. It's got the struggle now of trying to train the person that's going to take over from her. Bernice is busy packing. She's got a house in Texas, and they're not 100% sure when they're going to move. But she's busy packing, getting ready to move now. She's at that stage. Nyasha's mom is doing pretty well. So we're happy about that. And we know that it's Jeannie's wedding anniversary coming up on the 12th. And also, we've got Beth's twins, Victoria and Catherine. They have their birthday on the 17th. So if there are any other birthdays that we don't know about, if you're a regular viewer, whether you're in the chat regularly or even in the background, because I know a lot of you watch or listen to the broadcasts and you never comment. And that's okay. You are still more than welcome to let me know if you're a regular. You've been watching, and just let me know if you're a regular so that we can put you in our database to make sure we acknowledge birthdays. We seem to get it right most of the time. I'm not perfect. Which is what I used to speak about when I was a professional speaker. That was my main speech. You don't have to be perfect. And I was living proof of that. So I wanted to also, and I try and do this regularly, thank Lynn. She knows who she is. And Lynn is very kindly does a lot of the thumbnails. Funny enough, not the thumbnails that I put up for today. I actually did that, which is surprising when you hear how short of time I was. But that's what I want to show you. By actually concentrating on my passion, I made a lot more time and ended up getting a lot more done. Any of you interested in that, I wonder? Okay, so now then. First of all, you need to know that yesterday I had my friends Yvonne and Wade over for dinner. And we had roast beef and Yorkshire pudding and all the trimmings, which was wonderful. We then, actually before dinner, because dinner was, all busy, but I needed a bit more time to get the roast potatoes done. And so we decided that we would unwrap the presents before dinner. Now, that might sound strange to you, but we literally did Christmas last night. Yvonne, Wade, and I get together once a year. And normally it's pretty soon after Christmas, the first week or two. But this year, between weather and COVID and you name it, we ended up being a little bit late, February, to celebrate Christmas. But it was wonderful, except there weren't any Christmas lights and stuff on. So what I did is I kept all the photographs that we had. And what I did was I said, had you come closer to Christmas, the front would have looked like this. And by the way, this is how it looked with snow on it, in case it would have been snowing. And then, this is what the decorations looked like. So, when you have that attitude, you can still, I literally kept showing, and that's what it looked like. And they were laughing so much about that. But, it's true, right? I could create it in my own way. So the reason I'm mentioning the dinner last night was, I don't know about you, but if you've ever cooked roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, it ends up with quite a bit of stuff. Would you agree? Pots, pans, plates, you name it. And, I went to bed last night. After they'd gone, I just decided I'd do the stuff that really needed to go into the dishwasher went in. And then I just left the rest because, I can just relax now. And so that's what I did. And I fell asleep. Well, let me explain this. They gave me an awful lot of candy for Christmas. And intellectually that because I'm diabetic, I should not have got anywhere near that candy, or at least rationed it out. Yeah. And it's not what I did. So here I was. I woke up. This is the point I'm trying to get to. I woke up this morning, and the Olympics. I love the Olympics. So I woke up and turned the Olympics on, and sure enough, I got to see a bit of that, and that was fine. And then something happened, and I was thinking, isn't it wonderful that it's Monday, and I get to just relax, and I don't have to rush to get up, and I can sit here and just enjoy some Olympics before I even make coffee. And I was doing that, and then the guy said, and we will be showing that tomorrow, Monday, there's something or other. And it was just like, what? Any of you relate to this? And it was like, what? Tomorrow is Monday, not today? And then I went, well, if tomorrow is Monday, then today is Sunday. And if today is Sunday, I've got a broadcast to do. And, that probably is okay for you guys, but I hadn't even started on it. I had no idea what I was going to talk about today. Are any of you laughing, I hope? And, the good news is that all things are possible when you have passion. And that is the discussion I want to have. Excuse me a second. Because when you realize what your passion is, you know what's really important. And when you know what's really important, then you can do things a totally different way. So let's work through this. After I had that very short moment of total panic, I realized it probably was a good idea to get out of bed right then. Does that make sense? That's sort of like a priority. Nothing's going to happen unless I get out of bed. So I got out of bed, and what do you think I did? Right? What would you do? And the reason I say that is because you need to know where your passion is. And I obviously knew what the time was, and it was 10 o'clock in the morning because I get up late. It was 10 o'clock, mind you, I go to bed at about 2, so that makes sense, doesn't it? So anyway, I realized it was 10 o'clock, and my normal routine would be to get up, make coffee, go and sit at the computer, and while I'm sipping my first mug of coffee, I catch up on emails, and I take my blood pressure and my blood sugar and things like that. So yeah, Jody's saying, but first, coffee. Jody, that is 100% what I said to myself, right? Because if I don't just relax, I'm not going to think straight. And if I don't think straight, I'm never going to get it all done. Because you need to work out the plan. And so here I was. And so I went and made coffee, and I sat down, and I did my usual routine for about half an hour, drinking my first cup of coffee. And then the second half hour, I worked out what the plan was, right? Because if you fail to plan, your plan will fail. It's just like, if you've got a lot to do in a short space of time, to take the time to plan is not a waste of time. I want to tell you, to take the time to plan is quite honestly the best use of your time you can imagine. So what I did was I just literally sat there drinking my coffee, trying to wake up. This is after I took my blood sugar test and realized that maybe I shouldn't have had that much candy last night, but I was actually quite surprised that it did as well as it did. And so that surprised me. I went, gosh, I was expecting far worse than that, because I did have rather a lot of candy. So here I was, just sitting there very quietly having my coffee. And then I thought, okay, let's think about this. And this is what I want you to see. If you have got your passion in the right, if you understand where your passions are, you can cut through so much. And then I went, okay, if I only did one thing today, what do I want to do? See, that's my passion. What is it I want to do? Do a broadcast. Quite simple. That's my passion. Do the broadcast. Okay. So that's the first thing. However, if I do a broadcast, what is the one thing that I need? A topic would be a good idea. Do you agree? Because I hadn't got one at 10 o'clock this morning. I went, okay. And then if you had the topic, I didn't worry about trying to find it. I just went, okay. And if you had the topic, what would be the next thing? Tidying up the kitchen would be rather important to me. Okay, so that's the thing. Now, do you understand that tidying up the kitchen, there was also, and it wasn't that it was dirty, it was just I had everything in the dishwasher, and then I still had, lots of stuff that needed to be put away everywhere. And it was just like, I know you guys probably do it before you go to bed at night. I hadn't because of all the candy. I just went, fell fast asleep. And so there we were, and I'm working it out. Okay, so I know that the kitchen needs to be tidy and need to find a topic. Now, the way that I didn't panic was through experience. You see, as some of you know, the regular viewers know, I never sort of plan my topics months and months ahead. I either base them on somebody who's written to me. If you have a particular topic, write to me at DearMamaSal@gmail.com. So sometimes people write to me and say, could you talk about this, that, or the other? But other than that, I wait for some sort of inspiration from the universe to tell me what it is that I should be talking about this week. And you might ask, how do you do that? Well, I just live my life. And it's amazing how by just living my life, the topics will come to me. And they come to me at pretty good speed, quite honestly. Once I say, okay, I need today's topic. Because, I do that, go, hello, could you give me today's topic, please? Or I don't normally do it on the day. I normally do it a couple of days beforehand. But, so what I did was, okay, could you give me today's topic, please? And with that, I turned on the television because I still hadn't finished my coffee. And, first coffee. And then the most peculiar thing happened. The television wasn't on the Olympics, which I thought it was going to be, because I had fallen asleep on the couch. I had fallen asleep last night watching some, Hallmark movie. And so what it turned on was a Hallmark movie. And I really liked the actor and the actress that were starring in it. They looked so cute together. So, what was my passion? I wanted to watch that movie. But, that voice in my head said, you don't have time to watch a movie. You've got a broadcast to write. And I said, yeah, but what if I write it during the movie? Wouldn't that make sense? And then I said, logically, it would make sense if you had a topic, Sal. And I should also mention at the same time that another passion of mine is the Olympics. And I particularly wanted to watch some of the luge and ski jumping and all sorts of things that were going on today. So what I did was I sat there and I went, why don't I just relax and finish my coffee? In other words, I have enough time to finish my coffee and watch the movie. And I did. And I'm not joking. As I did that and relaxed, something came on the movie where the actor said something about follow your passion. Wherever it leads you, it will always be the right thing to do. And I went, bingo. What a great topic for today. And then I thought, yeah, and if I follow my passion, will I be able to get rid of all my stress today that normally would feel like stress, and just enjoy the process and still do the broadcast? Well, I don't know how stressed I look today, but here's what happened. I continued to watch the movie, but while I was watching it, I started to put together the framework of the bits that I wanted to put together about following your passion to reduce your stress. And as I did that, I noticed, I don't know if you can see this, but the sun is out. I must have been coming for the second cup of coffee to find it, because I always have 2 cups of coffee in the morning. So I noticed the sun was out, and my mind said, oh, isn't that beautiful? Why don't you go for a walk? And then the voice in my head said, the other voice said, you don't have time to go for a walk. And I went, if I do this right, I do. And if I want to do it badly enough, I will be able to do it. Because isn't it true that we always do what we want to do? We always have time to do what we want to do. If you think about it, we always have time to do what we want to do, because we will make time. We don't have it, we make it. So then I said, if you really want to go for a walk, you can still do it. Just work smart, not hard. And the way you work smart is to throw away the junk and just deal with the important stuff. Now, the other thing that you need to know is that when I designed how my house was going to work when I moved in here, one of the things I said to myself was, I want a television on wheels. I've got an awkward sort of L shape uh, where behind here, if you like, is a fireplace, and behind that is a sort of fireplace area. I've got a living room over in that direction, and I've got a dining room over in this direction, and then I've got the kitchen. And what I wanted was to be able to watch television from any one of those places if I wanted to. And so to do that, I worked it out. I would need a television on wheels, and then I could just angle the television in whatever room I wanted to watch it from. And I did manage to get, an industrial type one that was specially made for that, and it works really, really well. So the first thing I knew was I could watch whatever I wanted to watch while I was tidying up or while I was, doing stuff. So, and I did. But first, coffee. So I was feeling good about that. And then I also realized if I had to drop anything from my passion, it would be the Olympics, because what do we know? Anything that's important, they will be showing me again. Hi, Karen. And thank you for letting me know that we got Valentine's Day coming up. I always appreciate it when you pop in and remind us what's coming up. Thank you. So what we've got, before that, we've got the Super Bowl, the 13th, right, next week. So now, when I was thinking about it, when I was trying to do the dinner last night, I also wanted to watch the Olympics, all right, but I also wanted to be uh, watching the Olympics. So what I did was I turned the television around on its wheels so I could see it from the kitchen. And all I had to do was carry on meal prepping the meal, because what do we know? When anything exciting happens, the voice tone of the announcer changes. You all agree with me? They get higher and faster. And then what I would do is as soon as I heard that, I go, something interesting is happening. And I just move so that I could see the television set. And of course, if it's anything interesting, they're going to replay it. And I spent all the time cooking last night, being able to cook and watch television, because I didn't miss the important bits. Yes, Jeannie, I think I did mention that on Friday, that you and York have got your wedding anniversary coming up. So congratulations on that one. So you understand that, right? So when anything exciting happens, the voice tone of the announcer goes up, so you know something good is happening. So I had knew that after the broadcast, I'd be able to probably get most of the important stuff, because it would be on a recap somewhere. I just had to watch the recaps and I would get the important stuff. But funny enough, what I got smart on was I put the television in my bedroom on to the Olympics. So whenever I went to the washroom, I could catch up on what was going on. And I managed to watch the winners of the luge. I managed to watch the winners of I don't think I saw the winners of the ski jump, no, but I watched quite a bit of it. And then I also watched the cross-country skiing. And, it was just amazing. I visited the washroom quite a few times. But can you understand that it was possible to do that if I just had two different televisions going? One was with the movie, and then, oh, by the way, each time on the movie, each time the movie had a break for commercials, I came in here and tidied up a bit more of the kitchen. So can you see that just if I got it all going in the right direction, I could do a lot of things? But what about the walk? I decided I would do the walk after I had got the base of the after I got the base of the broadcast put down, and after the kitchen was tidy. I would then go for a walk if I had time. And I had plenty of time. And by the way, I'm so glad I went. I went out and I saw the first crocus of the year. You might have seen some where you are, but we actually had a crocus or two out in my community, and I literally stood there. It was yellow, and so can you imagine how I smiled? I got my phone out and took the picture. Hang on a second, I can show you that. But I literally got my phone out and went, "Oh, I got to get a picture of that. Nobody's going to believe me." And there we go. Oops. Come on, go sideways. See them? Aren't they cute? And I don't know why I just went, if I hadn't come for a walk, I wouldn't have seen them. So was I at peace? Absolutely. And you're probably wondering, why was I so calm about finding a one? Well, as I said, I've been a speaker for a long time. And one of the strange things for me is I don't panic about things. There's no point in panicking. Panicking will not help me write a speech or get ready for a broadcast. What will help me do that is trust and understanding of the process. And so it was just an amazing thing when I was out there feeling the sunshine, seeing the crocuses. I went and picked up the mail, and I didn't take the short route. I went a little bit more than that. And it didn't go for a big walk, but I did get out and get some fresh air. And how do you think I felt in terms of my stress level? Just by taking the time to go outside and walk. Jeannie's saying, wow, we're ahead of them in crocuses. Well, we're ahead of most people in crocuses because I'm West Coast and you're in Maine. And Jody, who's in New Hampshire, says, Jody's in New Hampshire, so she's also got the snow at the moment as well. And Jeannie's saying, we're expecting more snow tomorrow afternoon. Well, we probably will get more as well. But right now, we've got sunshine and crocuses. Sunshine, crocuses, and yep. So, but can you get the feeling that each of these things added to my peace of mind? Yeah, I was relaxed. That walk did that for me, Jeannie. And I also knew that, you're right, was there a possibility, could I have said, I just won't do a broadcast today? You understand, that would totally get rid of that stress. And I went, no, doing the broadcast is my passion. I'm going to do a broadcast. Just, right at that moment, I didn't know what the topic would be. But I know from my experience that I just have to get in the zone and the topic will come at me. It has done all the time. And Jody's saying, I've been witness to how the topics are divinely inspired many times. All right. So, you definitely are a witness to that, Jody, and you've been around long enough to see it happen more than once. And it makes me so at peace when I know that will happen. I just have to be aware. Miles Davis said that time isn't the main thing. It is the only thing. So in terms of being time managed, what do I need to know? How much time I have got? How many hours have I got to get all this done? And, when I looked at it, if you think about it, when I first started to plan, it was probably about 10:15. So I've got 11:15, 12:15, 1:15, 2:15. I got about 4 hours. That's quite a lot of time, really, if you do things in the right order. So then I had to keep saying, where's my passion? There definitely was a passion to get my kitchen cleaned up. But what do we know from experience, because I've done it before, is if if it gets to be close to the time and I haven't done it, I know I can get out some cubies that I've got and just literally put everything into cubies and take them out of the kitchen, wipe the countertops, and I'll be done. I got something in my sink and I don't know what it is. Ah, there we go. It's funny. I mean, I know what I should be looking at in my sink, and I'm going, what's that red thing in my sink? It was a Coke can that I'd rinsed out. Okay. So you look at it and go, when you know what your passion is, I just need this line of sight to be clean. All right. What happens out of camera, you're not going to worry about, and I'm not going to worry about. By the way, I have nothing out of camera. I did it all. Just in the commercials, bit by bit. Barack Obama said, the future rewards those who press on. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself, and I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on. You see, there was no maybe that I would do the broadcast. It was how many things can I fit in? There was no maybe that the kitchen would be tidy. It was one of the top things, right? Number one, do the broadcast. Number two, to do the broadcast, I need a tidy kitchen. Now, the funny thing is, every Friday night, we totally mess up the kitchen here. And that doesn't worry me. Why? Because it is part of the broadcast, that we mess up the kitchen. So when you look at it, can you see, but concentrating on what is really important to you, that's your passion, what's really important to you just changes things immediately. And how long did I spend having that cup of coffee or two and watching the movie? 2 hours. Half the time I had available to me, I spent watching the whole of that movie. But in that 2 hours, I got the kitchen cleaned up during the commercials, and I got the whole of the framework for today's broadcast also put together. Does that make sense? And I was perfectly relaxed. Perfectly relaxed. And then I thought maybe it's time to start getting up and doing stuff. The movie finished, and before I got engrossed in the second one, because there was the second one following it, of course, I said, okay, this is the time to get up. And before I get, anything else on the go, I am going to go for a walk. Okay? That's my priority now. In this next hour, going for a walk is highest on my list. Why? The kitchen was tidy, the broadcast was put together. Now I've got time to go for a walk. I've got 2 hours. Didn't think I would have, but I still had 2 hours. So then I went for the walk, saw the crocuses, took the extra few steps. By the way, I put on about 1,000 steps doing that. I was very happy about that. And I was not feeling stressed at all. And only when I came back and got, sort of clean and tidy after the walk, did I start thinking about, well, what shall I do next? Oh, it's interesting. Jeannie's saying that the broadcast on Friday got me to roast a medley of vegetables, cauliflower, broccoli, mushrooms, and green peppers. Okay, so you did a pan-fried, what do you call it? Pan-roasted vegetables. Yeah, they're easy to do. Did you enjoy it, is the question, Jeannie. And I want to tell you, Jeannie, you remember that I put the leftover ones that I had into little, hang on a second. Oops. I put the roasted vegetables into these little silicone muffin molds, and I froze them, and they worked beautifully. So now I've got this portion control vegetables done for the week. She said she did enjoy them, and she's still enjoying them. We're good. I'm glad to hear it. And how easy was it to do, Jeannie? right? How easy was it? And I have to thank Jody for teaching me how to do it, I must admit. Jody's, been very instrumental in teaching me these things over the months. So, how many of you start your day with quiet time? Judy's saying so easy, yeah. And so easy you can just put them in the oven, walk away, and get on with everything else, right? And easy to do even with the toaster oven. If you remember, I did my vegetables in something this size, all right? So how many of you do start your day with quiet time? So you can think and plan. And I really must say that it changes my life when I do that. It's like almost a meditation for me. Almost a meditation. It's like I think about what inspiration I need. I think about it when I get up in the morning. I think about it before I go to bed, because I find quite often when I wake up in the morning, I've got the answer. Jody's saying I start my day with a quiet hour to meditate and plan the day. I feel more organized that way. Yeah. Now, I'm pretty certain you've got a pretty good idea what you're going to be doing the next day anyway, but it's just that let me get my mind in the right frame of mind for what I want to achieve. And I know you well enough as well to know, Jody, that you do it in the order of importance, right? And knowing that you might not finish everything that you put on your list, because you and I are inclined to put an awful lot on our list. And that's why I find asking myself, if I only did one thing, what would it be? And then when I've got that one thing done, I go, okay, now if I've only do one more thing today, what does it need to be? And I check in with what's important to me, not what's important to everybody else. It's what's important to me. What will make me happy? Jeannie's saying, I get up first, see if I have emails, read a few things, decide on breakfast, and relax at the table. Exactly, right? So you take that little bit of time just to group yourself and work out what you're going to do. Colette said, it's not time management, it is you management. All right? And when you know what to do next, it takes the stress away, doesn't it? Jody will plan her meals way ahead of time, and then has fun working out all the ingredients and working out whether she's got any in the house or not. All right. And then has fun. She does the most incredible meals for Lionel. But from the way she talks about it to me, I know that it is fun for her. She enjoys it, even though she has a great deal of trouble doing it all because of her illness. She still has fun doing these things and planning them and eating them, I'm sure. So think about that. Time can work for you rather than against you if you think about your passion. So when you think about it, when I have finished doing the broadcast today, I will then go, now what's your passion? Food, probably. And then I already know what I'm going to have for dinner, but that will probably be my next passion. Interesting. Jeannie's saying, I was surprised to discover I had 3 dozen eggs, so I took 6 and made deviled eggs today. Yes. The other thing is boil up another 6. And what I do, Jeannie, is I boil up 6 and then I write on the shell what day I boiled them on. All right. So yeah, I'll sort of write SUN on them. So I know as long as I eat them within a week, they'll be good. So that's another, and very healthy protein snack as well, and saves you a lot of meal prepping issues. Right? You can make Just add them to a salad, on top of a salad or something. So that works as well. I think that keeping control of your stress and your panic is so important. Years of being a professional speaker, I knew that it was really important to just do what was really important. I would, for example, one day I was on my way to the airport to go to another province. We call them province, not states in Canada. To go to another province to do a speech. And on the way there, my car broke down. That speech had been booked for a long time, probably over a year. And, breaking down, I'm not going to make a call and say, gee, I'm really sorry my car broke down. They're not interested. They've had you headlining that convention for a year. They've done all the advertising for it and everything else, and people are expecting me to be there. So guess what? I need to be there. And my thinking was, number one, what is my passion? To get to the other province, to get to the airport so I could get on the plane in time. Now, I always left 2 extra hours because I knew things like that could happen. So whenever I went to the airport as a professional speaker, I always left 2 hours. Now, you're probably saying that's a total waste of time if you had to wait 2 hours every time you went to the airport. Nope. I wrote books. I would sit and write at the airport. It's part of my de-stressing. And I found that worked really well for me. So all I needed was to get to the airport without a car. Oh, and to get my car taken off the bridge where it had broken down. First call was to a friend of mine. I said, I know you're going to hate me for this, but my car just broke down on this bridge. I need you to phone my car shop and get them to come get it, please. I have to get to the airport. Now, was that the best thing to do? Probably not, but it was the thing I had to do. I then flagged down a car. This was in the days before we all had cell phones. And luckily, the guy that I flagged down to get a lift off the bridge had a cell phone. So while he was driving, and he couldn't take me to the airport, but while he was driving, I was able to phone a taxi to pick me up where he was going. And then get to the airport. And I got to the speech. And of course, I spoke about my stress management on the way there. Let me see what the comment is here. Jody's saying, I enjoy the meal planning and the prep. I think about how much Lionel, her husband, enjoys the meals. And also I get a great sense of accomplishment from participating in that way. It's still something I can do. Jody, that comes through loud and clear. Every time you talk to me. And that's why I love seeing the pictures of the things that you've created. And Jody's saying, even if I need to ask Lionel for help with the prep, I'm still involved. And it gives you peace of mind to know you're contributing to the family. And so here, I found this when I was doing the research. But, I found this, and I want to share it with you. It says the 12 most effective time management principles. So this is, how do you reduce your stress, better time management, right? Number one, determine what is urgent, all right? Find your passion. What can you not get rid of? Either I needed to get rid of the broadcast or decide I am definitely doing it. That's cast in stone. Make sense? The second thing, don't overcommit. So if I'm doing the broadcast, what do I need to do a broadcast? Don't worry about the house. Don't worry about, the people I've got to phone. Don't worry about cleaning the rest of the house. Don't worry about making the bed. Don't worry about anything except what I need to concentrate. Number 3, have a plan for your time. Now, I want to show you this because it's really a really simple thing to do. You probably all do it, but in case anybody doesn't, I'd like to just show you physically. Let's say that yesterday, if you had seen my microwave yesterday, It was covered in writing. I used my microwave as a time management tool. But basically, this is what happened. I knew they were coming for dinner at 5:30. Okay? Make sense? No problem. And what I did, I then said, what am I having for dinner? And I had this list of roast beef, boom, 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 the vegetables, the Yorkshire pudding, everything else was on there. And then systematically, I said, okay, by 4 o'clock, no, 5 o'clock, by 5 o'clock, I need to have these things ready so that dinner can be had at 5:30. I reckon probably 6 by the time we'd chit-chatted and everything. By 4 o'clock, I would need to have this done. By 3 o'clock, and that's what I did. I literally, so by 2 o'clock, I was peeling the potatoes for the roast potatoes and getting the other vegetables out. I, literally, that way I only had 1 or 2 things to do every hour, which meant I could watch the Olympics in between. You see, when you plan it out, it makes it so much more simple and less stressful. And, I write it all on my microwave so I can see it. And also I get the joy of, rubbing it out as I've done each thing. But I had the gravy and I had everything else on there. And the Yorkshire puddings were wonderful. They were this big. I was so pleased. And, I found out a long time ago that you can make Yorkshire puddings way ahead of time and just, warm them up. So that was awesome. And I knew I didn't have to worry about dessert because I was pretty sure they were going to give me candy and I'd given them candy too. So I said to them, you're not getting dessert because I know we're going to eat candy. All right, let's do the next thing. Allow time for the unexpected. Remember what I said about going to the airport? I always left 2 extra hours for the unexpected. One time I got halfway to the airport when I realized I didn't have my passport and I needed it. I was going to the States. Because I'd left 2 extra hours and always did, I had time to get back home. Told the limo driver to go home again, and I picked up my passport and still got to the airport on time. Handle things once. All right? In other words, don't handle it and put it away somewhere for later. The things that are important. You can do that with the things that aren't important. So all I do if I'm in a really big rush to get the kitchen clean, as I said, I will just dump everything into cubies. And then after the broadcast, I'll put the cubies up on here and then work through them and get things put away. Create realistic deadlines. Okay? Work backwards. This is the time this has to be ready. So then work backwards on realistic times. And what surprised me was today, remembering I got up at 10, today I had everything ready by 1 o'clock. Everything ready by 1 o'clock. Oh yes, Jodie's reminding me that I have a picture. Thank you. Of the Yorkshire puddings. I've forgotten that, Jodie. Let me see if I can find it. Oh. There we go. Don't they look good? For those of you who know Yorkshire puddings and like them. Now, what Yvonne loves to do, she loves them so much because I make them like that. She comes in and she tears them apart and then fills them up with gravy. And, I remember having one neighbor who said to me when I was one time, which is, please can I come for dinner? And please can we have roast beef and Yorkshire puddings, but forget the beef and forget everything else. Just could you do the Yorkshire puddings and gravy? I said, sure. But I'm going to do the rest as well. Okay, so when you look at just what is important, right, it takes a lot of the stuff away, right? Or you don't worry about anything else, all right? Set goals for yourself, and for your time, all right? In other words, I like to do mine. I need to get this done within this hour. And after I've done it, I can basically choose to carry on a bit more if I want to, or relax, watch more of the Olympics or the movie or whatever. But, things that are important to me, not to everybody else. Right? I work on what's important to me. Develop routines. If you don't have a routine for your life, you are likely to be pretty stressed. Sundays, I do broadcasts. Unfortunately, my routine was I didn't realize it was Sunday. Focus on one thing at a time. Remember, if I can only do one thing, what is the one thing I want to do? Do a broadcast or cancel it. That was the decision. Either do it or cancel it. Which do you want to do? I want to do it. Fine. Knowing, you see, this is the thing that you need to understand. Knowing I had the ability to put a broadcast together in short time. How did I know that? 10 years experience. So I know it's doable. Do I want to do it? There's the thing, right? Eliminate or minimize distractions. Remember, what do I want to do? That. So let's concentrate on that. I'm not going outside to go weed the garden. I'm not going to do all sorts of things. I actually went for a walk before I got up and got dressed, if you know what I mean. I was still basically in my jammies when I went for a walk. Not quite, but I put on yesterday's clothes to go for the walk. Why? That wasn't the time for me to get squeaky clean. I decided, that's after I've been for a walk would be the most intelligent time. So put on yesterday's clothes and off I went. Nobody else knows I was wearing it yesterday, nor do I care. And leave time for fun and play, which I did. And I was pretty happy about that. So can you see that when we've got the right focus, then we also have enough time. And when you think about it, because I did it that way, I got the added bonus of actually finding the crocuses that made my day. I don't mind telling you, I was just so happy about that. I was like, I can't believe that. Crocuses, that's wonderful. And then there are more, right? If you remember, I thought that was going to take me right up to broadcast time, but I had 2 hours, basically, to play with. And one of the things I did is I found out, I have a time management program that I use to, sort of get things together. And I had been wanting in my back of my mind and on my goal sheet, I've been wanting to find out if I can download everything in it. Number one, what if it breaks down for some reason or whatever? And, I've had that and I've been researching it bit by bit. And for some reason today, because I was relaxed maybe, I found the answer I needed. And I managed to download, Jody, just so you know, I downloaded the whole of what was in Asana. That's the program I use. And so now I've got it in a hard copy if I want it. But here was the other thing. Because I did that, I realized that what I wanted to do was to download the framework of my broadcasts. Now, why, you ask me, why did I want to do that? Well, one of the things that Benji said to me this week, and I listened to what Benji says, was, when are you writing your next book? And, I just rolled my eyes. Luckily he couldn't see me. I just rolled my eyes like I have time to write a book. And then I thought, something? If I could download the framework that I put together for the broadcast, then I could. Makes sense. If I could take the framework, I would have the basis for a chapter. Then I went, wait a minute, how much material have I got sitting on YouTube? Right? If I take how many broadcasts I've done over the years so far, how many broadcasts, how much information is in those broadcasts? And I said, gosh, what a pity I don't have the ability to be able to download all those topics. And then I stopped and I went, you know something, Sal? Because I was relaxed and my mind was working. You can. All you need to do is, if they haven't already got, what do you call it? When you put the words on it? The notes. Jody, what do you call that? I know you know what I'm talking about. But, you know, so that instead of hearing what I'm saying, you can read it along the screen, what I'm saying. I'm thinking I could go back over the years and just literally do those notes on any of those broadcasts. And then I went, yeah, but can I download those notes? I went, there's one way to find out. And so what I did in this time when I didn't think I'd have time to do anything, never mind to do the creative stuff I'm now talking about, I then went, okay, fine. I took Friday's feelings of, you know, when we talked about conflict management, I took that video and I put up the, Jody, what is the word I'm trying to find? Huh. Anyway, but I converted it into words so that it would come up on that particular video. And then I went in to have another look. And I realized I could download that. Why? Because you can download it to edit it and then transcripts. Thank you very much indeed, Ordinary Girl. Thank you for coming out of the woodwork to save me. Yeah, there's another word as well. It'll come to me probably after we finish the broadcast. But thank you. Yes, it is the transcripts. But I didn't know you could download those. Do it automatically and then download it. Well, you know what I was thinking? Is that an instant book right there? All right. 10 years of broadcasts. How many books would that fill? Any of you laughing? All right, think about it. On average, 2 to 3 hours a week times 10 years. Times 10 years. Pretty good, huh? And so I went, now the next question is, you know, will I make the time to do it? Right? Will I make the time to do it? That's the question. And, you know, the answer was, I have always said, I'm always trying to make sure I've got the next plan in place for what if I, for some reason, can't talk anymore? How would I continue, Dear Mama Sal? Well, guess what? I just found out how. What if I can't see anymore? Well, I could still do it. I just need to bring somebody in to help me who could take the transcripts and then we could, yeah, do it. So, you know, I'm always sort of trying to think, as you know, 1 or 2 steps ahead of the game. And I went, boy, this is what I've been trying to come up with a plan for months, years maybe. And if Benji hadn't said to me, when are you writing your next book? I wouldn't have even had the mindset for that to all fall into place. So how exciting was that? So then what I did is I did the transcript for that particular broadcast. I then tried to download it and it worked. Then it wanted to open it up in Excel. And I didn't want to use Excel. I wanted to use Google Sheets. So then I worked out how can I do that in Google Sheets, and I did it. And it was so exciting. And I still had another hour. So can you see that instead of this being an absolutely traumatic, um, day of trying to get everything done, I not only did everything I wanted to do, which was get ready for the broadcast, and go for a walk, but I also achieved learning on something I'd been trying to do for the goodness knows how long, and I was able to work out how to get the groundwork for a book or two. All right, now this is what Coco Chanel said. She said, "Don't spend time beating on a wall, hoping to transform it into a door." All right, don't waste your time on the impossible, stupid things, right? Spend your time doing what's good for you. Jeannie's saying Benji had a great idea, and I'll go with it. So, well, Benji and I always talk about, the work that I do because he knows that it's my passion. And it is just interesting that he came up with it that way. And this is the essence of what we're saying. Nobody is too busy. It's just a matter of priorities. If we don't make our passions our priorities, we will never have time. Jody's saying, it's peaceful to even listen to you telling the story of how everything fell into place because you didn't panic. Inspiring. Well, remember my story of the fire, right? That cop asking me, "Are you always this calm as you're watching your place burn?" It was just like panicking isn't going to give me more time. I don't think. And did I know, and you've got to think about this as well, did I know that if I really needed to, I could probably put a broadcast together in a pretty short space of time? I knew that because I've had experience of doing it over the years, but also because of my experience of writing speeches, all right? That I know what we need. We need to have a reason to be talking. We need to make sure that it's relevant, something you can relate to, or that's important to me. So when I tell you my story of waking up and then that moment of panic, I'm hoping you can see that I didn't continue to panic. I just knew I needed to do this in a logical, get rid of the emotion, just in a logical way. And number one thing I needed to do was to relax, take it easy, have my cup of coffee. Because really, at the back of my mind, if I really had to, I knew I could turn on the computer and talk for a couple of hours, or an hour and a half on a Sunday, and not have a problem on almost any topic. Jeannie's saying, this afternoon I told my daughter the same thing. Do not panic, because it will not help anything. No, and maybe you can share this story with her or give her the link so that she can hear it, maybe while she's cleaning or something, because it's important for us to realize that we waste so much time panicking, so much time on the emotion. I'll never get it done, or this, the broadcast won't be good enough, or what if, and I just know, I'm going to do the broadcast. Fact. No, maybe. Going to do the broadcast. Number two, what I'm going to talk about, not sure yet, but I think I'll think about that while I have my coffee. If I hadn't turned on the television and if it hadn't been on the wrong program, we would be talking about something completely different. But how many of you are glad that I got this topic going today? Because you can relate to it. Because you can relate to it. Now, hold on one second, because I am not going to be beaten by that word that I can't think of. So what I'm going to do, just bear with me a second. I'm actually, while I'm talking to you, I'm pulling up my YouTube because I know somewhere in the I'm going to find this word that I won't be beaten. I will find this word, people. So I'm just going to go to my channel. Now, you're probably saying, I don't really care about the word. Well, hello. You will care because I care. And then I will be so much more relaxed. And we will all learn the word. Here we go. And I'm just repeating everything I did when I did it today. Went there. I keep saying thumbnails. It's not thumbnails at all. It is something completely different. You're nearly there, people. Just bear with me a second. Now, for those of you who know me well, you know I will not be beaten by technology. I hate it when that happens. Oh, I better
Dr. Marty, which one is better for my dog?
We don't
Kibble
want the
or
ads,
ginger?
nor do we want the sound.
This is a bag of premium organic
Thank you. All right, now then, what's
dog food. Think it's healthy for your dog to eat? Think again. Hi, this is Dr. Marty Goldstein. You may have seen
okay, we'll cut that down. All right, I hope you can still hear me. Jody, can you still hear me? Because I've turned the sound off. Hang on, I'm going to find this. It's cracking me up that, you know, my personal need. No, this is wrong. Shouldn't waste your time. Okay, don't worry about it. I will find this word and we will discuss it another time. But you know, it's going to drive me insane. Transcripts works well, but it's not the word I'm looking for. Okay, Jody, perhaps you could do it for me. Could you just type into Google what is it? What are the transcripts? What are the transcripts called on YouTube? Maybe we can come up with it that way. All right, here's another quote that I like. If you talk about it, it's a dream. If you envisage it, right, if you got the plan, right, it's possible. But if you schedule it, it is real. And I think what happens to a lot of people, they wish a lot of things, right? If you talk to them and say, what's your goal? Well, I don't really write my goals down. Well, all right, that's good. You're not going to achieve it. You know. Do you spend time? Do you make time to de-stress yourself by working out possible solutions? Those of you who are regular viewers, you know all the time I'm walking through my house going, I don't like that clutter in that corner. Right? I will look at it and go, I don't like that clutter there. So then I will go, what am I going to do about it? Well, I don't immediately pull it all apart. I start thinking about what's there, where does it need to go? Closed captioning. Thank you, Jody. You are a star. No wonder you are my admin. That is exactly, it's called closed captioning. Yep. So that people who haven't got hearing can read it. Thank you so much. You know how happy that made me. But, you know, transcripts is also true. They just don't call it that on YouTube. Now, did you all learn something today? Now, Harry Potter said, time will not slow down when something unpleasant lies ahead. Time will not slow down for you, all right? Now, the reason I wasn't worried about finding a topic is because I know if I genuinely want to find something, an answer to something, I normally do, right? Be it what to do with that corner. That's difficult to do that in reverse. What to do with that corner or whatever. I just put it into my mind bank and go, okay, now work out what needs to happen. And then, what will happen is probably in a few broadcasts from now, you're going to find that corner is cleaned up. Because all the time I'm going, have I got an answer for that yet? Not yet. Jody will tell you, because she is aware of that, because I talk to her more, where I say to her, I'm still working on an answer to X, Y, and Z. It just stays in my memory, in the back of my mind while I'm, it's in my system. And every couple of weeks, sometimes I'll spend a year trying to find the answer. But I don't quit on it. Why? It's important to me. But it's not important that it happens today. It's important that I work on my passion today. Got it? And sometimes what I'm trying to fix is also the thing that is my passion. So cut away the unimportant things. Can you see that I did that? I cut away anything that wasn't critical on this day. It says allocate breaks. Yeah. I just kept going back and finishing more of my coffee and, just taking it easy. Went for a walk. By the way, how many of you know while I was going for my walk, not only did I find the crocuses, but how many of you know I also thought about a few more things I wanted to add to the broadcast? What do you think? Possible? It was true. One of the things they say is when you do this, when you relax, when you don't panic, you also tap into your inspiration. All right? Because you're not panicking, you've got room in your mind for inspiration. Now, from experience, I know I can open up a book, turn on the television, go for a walk, and I will find a topic. I've been doing it for 10 years, people, right? Some people have said to me, how can you do what you're doing on the same subject for 10 years and not run out of topics? And I go, very simple. Very simple. There's always another way of looking at it. Always. And quite honestly, I can repeat the same things I said 2 years ago about time management, but today you'll be listening in a different place. Today, you will be in this space, and when you are in this space, you will hear it differently. Does that make sense to anybody? So to me, it's never that I'm repeating it. What I'm doing is reminding us all, because we forget. We forget that the panic doesn't help us a bit. We forget that beating up on ourselves doesn't help us one bit. We forget that wasting time complaining about things doesn't fix it. What fixes it? Finding an answer fixes it. And then I find that just doing what needs to be done, all right? I don't have to recreate the world. So for me, what else do I want? I'd like some quotes around this, right? Don't have to find a whole lot, but I'd like some, because that gives me breathing space more. Because sometimes when I'm talking about the quote, other parts of this will come to me. The other thing is, I want to know, if I wake up thinking it's tomorrow, how many of my viewers have done that? How many of you have literally woken up thinking it was the another day, and then suddenly realized you got the day wrong? And that changed your whole world in that split second. Everything you'd planned, now I've got to reframe everything. But we're still here. It didn't overwhelm us. We did what we had to do. Thoreau said, Henry David Thoreau, that is, said, it is not enough to be busy. The question is, what are you busy about? All right? I can follow you around and I can see how busy you are every day. But my question to you is this: are you busy enjoying your life? Or are you busy keeping other people happy? Or are you busy being perfect? Or are you busy doing stuff you hate? Because if you can see that by starting on your passion, what is my passion for today? All right? Make time for that. Jody, I totally get that your passion, part of your passion every day is to be, researching different recipes and doing whatever. And then, getting Lionel to help you create them so that he can enjoy them. Does not surprise me one bit. That creativity is amazing. And also, I don't discount the joy you get from that. That, you can't do much anymore because of your illness, but you can still research and you can still watch videos and you can still, put a shopping list together. I think that is wonderful. I really do. That you are working on what you can do, not what you can't. You're not complaining about illness. You're not complaining about what's wrong. You're going, okay, I have certain limits now. What can I do with them? That's inspirational. That is inspirational. And how about this? Don't get sidetracked by people who are not on track. The question is, if somebody had phoned me in the middle of all this, all right, it would have been, I checked my watch first. Do I have time for this conversation? If I didn't, I would say, hey, I'm way behind on a broadcast I'm trying to put together. Can I phone you after the broadcast is finished? Right? Get rid of the distractions. Jody's saying that I taught her the importance of focusing on what you can do. Yeah. And if you don't know the answer of what you can do, then do the research to get it. You are always within moments of getting the right answer. Now, I must admit, I've got one problem that I still am struggling with. For some reason, I find that my clothes get more musty in my house, this one, than they ever did in my other house. Now, I'm pretty certain that has to do with ventilation and everything else. And I have tried just about every trick in the book I can think of. So I'm still researching how to stop that. I'm washing my clothes, even if they don't need to be washed. I'm sort of recycling my clothes through the washer more often to try and make sure that, they are properly clean all the time. And it's just like, I will find the answer to this. And I'm pretty certain you guys will have lots of ideas for me. How about this one? I do not value people who do not value my time. Well, that to me, I don't agree with. Why? Because I am in control of my time and I get to say, love to continue this conversation, but I need to go now. That's within my control. And I must admit that I can't say that I don't value the person who doesn't have the busy schedule that I do. Kimmy's saying, have you tried a dehumidifier? I've got those silicone packs in there. I have got, I keep the doors of my closet open so the air can get in there. Have I got a dehumidifier in the closet? No. Right. So Ordinary Girl saying to me, do I put damp bread in there? I have got some. That's what the silicone packs are. All right. So what I've done, I've got a new experiment going on at the moment. You know those little beads that you put in, and somebody told me they're called something different in, wait 1 second. What do you call these things? I've even put some of these in there to see if they start to swell up in that cupboard, because I know that these absorb moisture. So, and they're a lot cheaper than the dry bread things, the damp bread thing. But yes, that's what I'm working on. But my point of view is that room, that room has, I've got the doors open in that closet, so there's air circulating. I literally have taken all my T-shirts, all right, out of there and rewashed them and then hung them to dry for days to make sure they're properly dry after they've come out of the dryer, and then folded them and put them in there. And I'm not joking, within a week, they've got that slight musty smell. Kimmy's saying baking soda. Really? I'll try some of that. Yeah, I did. All right, people who know what these are, what did they? I think you have them for children. You drop them in water and they grow. But I use them a lot with my seedlings and things because they will retain water. If I accidentally forget to water something, these will hold the water and then feed it back to the plants if necessary. How about this one? I think this is from John F. Kennedy. He said, we must use time as a tool, not as a couch. All right. So make time work for you is about, you need to know where your passion is to do that. Fresh wave. Thank you, Jody. Could you just take a screenshot for me or just remind me of that? Fresh wave. Never heard of it. Remove smells. Yep. Okay. So, by the way, you don't have to have the perfect answer today. If any of you are of that mind that you love researching, and let's get as many different options on this as we can find. And I'll keep updating you and let you know how it's going. Because I will not be beaten by this. I will not be beaten. So can you see that following your passion, Jody will always have time to create another meal for Lionel in her mind. You know why? It's important to her. It's her passion. She loves Lionel to bits, and she loves coming up with nice meals that he'll enjoy. And so I look at it and go, when you can see that I managed to not only get everything done, I also managed to go for a walk and smell the roses. Well, actually, it wasn't smell the roses as much as take pictures of the crocuses. I went to pick up the mail. I also did the research on something I was trying to do on YouTube and tested it out and did it. And the question is, did I still have time to put on my makeup? Did I still have time? You look at it. And how stressed do you think I feel right now? So the next time you want to panic, what are you going to do? Let's see what you've learned. The next time you suddenly start to panic about something, what are you going to remind yourself to do? Okay? Please remember, panicking does not give you more time. It wastes time. All right? When I had the fire, panicking could destroy my whole house. Panicking was not the right. No, for a split second, did I panic? You bet I did. By the way, for a split second, do you think I stood there wondering what on earth to do? You bet I did. But how long did I stay there? Not very long. Now, I didn't make coffee, Jody, when the house was on fire. I got to be quite honest. I did say, where's the fire extinguisher? Now, if I'd had practice of fire extinguisher beforehand, I would not have covered myself, after I pulled the pin and pressed the thing, because I remember that's what you had to do. If you remember, when I did it, I was busy looking at the hose thing, and I covered myself in fire retardant. But if you remember, that was a brilliant thing to do. Because I went in and fought the fire, and I was covered in that stuff. So, in fact, one person I know, when I told them about, I ended up covered in the fire retardant, they said, what a brilliant idea. I would never have thought of that. And I said, actually, it was a mistake, but a good one. Oh, Ordinary Girl is telling me it's so cool that your crocuses are up. I didn't say mine were. Somebody else's were. Their house faces a different direction. We have, she's saying we have 15 to 18 inches of snow here in New England. Well, I know about that because of, if we've got Jody in New Hampshire and we've got Jeannie sitting in Maine. So yeah, I know all about you guys and your snow. And by the way, I have to laugh because every now and then I'll talk about Pat. And Pat is in the very eastern part of Canada. Right out in Newfoundland. And, it's so funny because I will literally be, every time the crocuses come up here on my garden, once there's sort of quite a few of them, I'll take a picture and I'll send it to Pat because I know she's still under snow. Done it every year ever since I met her as a viewer. And then what I do is, as the daffodils come up, I go, oh, look at that, daffodils are up. And I send them to and then Bill, her husband, will send me pictures, as theirs arrive. And it's really funny, isn't it? It's like a tradition that we've done for all the time that I've been broadcasting and since I met Pat. So here is the thing, people. You can make time your enemy or your friend. Your choice. Your choice. If you concentrate in life, if you concentrate on what you can do, not what you can't, you'll be amazed what you can achieve. If things are important enough to you, right? For me, doing the broadcast is important to me. You know that. It's important to me, right? It's my passion. Jody, cooking meals for Lionel, even if Lionel has to help her for most of it, cooking meals for Lionel is important to her. So she always has time for that. And such great meals. So we control our own stress. We don't control what life throws at us, right? Life throws that. That's a fact. How we deal with it is within our control because we can choose the feeling of panic or control. Think about that. We can choose to spend our time panicking or getting control. And once we've got control, once we're at peace, once we can work out, okay, I've got 4 hours left. That's quite a lot of time now that I think about it. What do we want to get accomplished in the first hour? Drink coffee. I remember just going, no, first of all, I'm going to drink coffee. Okay, after that, what are you going to do? Okay, I need a topic. I know I'm going to do the broadcast, but I need a topic. Okay, so we'll find a topic. Don't worry about that. Trust yourself. You've always found a topic. What else? I need to clean up the kitchen. Do you understand? It was just like, and then to systematically do all of those things. And I still had time to go for a walk, and I still had time to do research and find an answer to a problem that had been bugging me for months. So this week, make time your friend, not your enemy. And let go of what you have to do, realizing you really don't. You really don't have to do half the things you think you do. Think about that. Think about that. You really don't have to do half the things you think you have to do. And once you got that clear, you'll be amazed how much time you free up. And if you don't make time to be happy in your life, shame on you. If you don't make time to do the things you enjoy, shame on you. And if you don't understand that you are the creator of your own stress, welcome to the world. Most of us, it's taken me a lifetime to work that one out. Jody's saying panic accomplishes nothing except for spinning your wheels, wasting time, along with increasing anxiety. I am so looking forward. Once I have finished the broadcast, I'm going to find some food. I'm going to go and sit down and enjoy it and watch the Olympics. And then I probably will watch another movie with my eyes closed, if any of you know what I mean. I do hope that you enjoyed the broadcast. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up so other people can see that it's worth watching. And if you have the time or choose to make the time, perhaps leave a comment to let people know why it was helpful to you and why they should take the time to check it out. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you so much for being here. Jody, thank you for being my constant inspiration and for doing the research for us. We love you for it. And also, please remember, if you have a topic about which you'd like me to talk, let me know at dearmamasal@gmail.com. It saves me having to think some weeks. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, love you dearly. Look after yourselves and make yourselves happy. Bye-bye for now.